So you mean to tell me that when Lampard puts out a statement to the team telling them that this game tonight is an opportunity to get some first team minutes again, this is the performance most of these players put in? It's not good enough, you guys, and at this point in time, we have to accept that we have too many players that aren't of the right level for us. We have to accept that we need to look at the younger players and separate them from the equation because these guys are the future. And these guys need a better standards and quality of player around them to help them go to the next level, because playing alongside the likes of your Barkleys, your Alonsos, your Pedros, and even Cole's performance today, well, what are you going to do? How can you excel? How can you go to that next level? And I think over the next season or two, there really is going to be a lot of rebuilding within the team. It needs to happen, you guys, because when I'm looking at the likes of Liverpool and City, even their B team players, when they come on, they perform. They perform every single time. They fight for their place. And that's why you see the managers being forced into situations where they have to play them in first team football, because they've earned that with their dedication and their mentality. And so many of these guys just don't have it anymore. I mean, for God's sake, what a terrible, disgraceful performance from Pedro today. Like, honestly, one of the worst performances of the new decade by far. Nothing was coming off. Everything was overplayed. Every touch was too heavy. Everything was sloppy. And that comical piece of play right at the end, like, you taking the piss, man. Like, come on. It really gave me flashbacks, you guys, that nightmare piece of play that Pedro produced against Everton all those seasons back. I was like, wow, Pedro, I thought you moved on from this, but it seems like he's back at that level. And if you're back at that level, it means that your time's up. I'm sorry. Now, I know that I'm coming across very harsh in today's match review. Yes, I know we won 2-1. I should be a lot more positive, but the standard and quality of the performance, well, the quality has to matter. I'm sorry. The standard and the quality has to matter. And too often the quality is always going down. So you guys, from now on, before I get into things, let me get the plug out the way. Today's video is brought to you by the One Football app. Now, as I'm constantly saying every single time, it's a companion app and it's very useful. Now, if you want to get transfer news that's happening across Europe in one central hub, well, that's why the One Football app's there. So if you guys want this, you will find a link below in the description. And if you do like today's video, if you like the content, if you want to support me, then hit that like button. Help me get over 1,500 likes. And you guys, let me continue on. And I want to talk about some of the individual performances today, because I don't really think there was much to talk about when it comes to tactics. Our whole City for about 75 minutes of the game played with absolutely no intensity. It was very easy to play out from the back most times. The times that they applied a tiny bit of pressure, well, wow. We really felt that, and it was quite disappointing, to be honest. But other than that, if you're a whole City fan, I think you'd be a bit disappointed from your team's performance. But anyway, we go back, and I want to start with some of the players that I was disappointed with from my own team. The first player that I'm going to get out of the way was Ross Barkley. I wasn't too happy with him today. He had so much time and space to play in. Now, during the opening 15 minutes, I was thinking, okay, Barkley's touch is looking quite sharp. He's looking quite crisp. He's looking a bit positive. Okay, he's building off from his last performance. Let's see what happens. But literally after that period, it was Ross Barkley 2020, you guys. But it's just disappointing. I think my major grievance with Barkley is just how measured he plays. It's like he is so slow, this decision making, so slow on the ball, and he plays with no conviction. That's what I don't like about him the most. It's like I don't see a single bit of confidence when he's on the ball. Absolutely no conviction whatsoever. And it's why so often during games you see opportunities where Barkley finds himself in space where he can slot a pass in to one of his teammates, but time and time again it's like he has doubts in his abilities or something, and he plays the pass a second too late. And that was the story of his game today. Constantly just slow, late. How many times was he caught on the ball in the middle of midfield? How many times did Hull City get counter-attacks from those moments? It's not good enough. And on top of that, absolutely nothing with his passes as well. And his poor shot selection. He always takes shots on goal that rarely do anything, that really test the keeper. I'm sorry. I don't know why people are so patient with him. I don't understand it. There's been players that have been better than him, even Bakayoko, who got a lot of criticism and negativity. But I don't understand why Barkley doesn't get the same type of criticism that other players like that got. Now, I'm not saying let's start spreading hate. I am not about that shit at all. So don't get me confused. I'm just wondering what's happened to consistency. Marcos Alonso, again, he doesn't suit what Lampard needs. Now, if we were using a wing-back system, yeah, that suits Alonso better. And the reason for that is because Alonso doesn't have pace. So playing as a wing-back means that he has extra protection behind him from the wide centre-back. And that's why he doesn't get caught out. So because of that, it means that he can play a bit more confidently going forward. That doesn't mean he's some amazing top-class attacking fullback. It just means that he's not going to be as exposed by his weaknesses. Today, though, at times I felt a bit sorry for him because he doesn't have that pace. What can he do about that, really? I thought he used his aerial presence well at times, but anytime it came to any pieces of quality or really just providing that quality out wide, it wasn't there again, you guys. And it's a shame that, we haven't explored any left-back options in the window. I guess that tells us that the club are really planning to make big changes in the summer window, which makes a lot more sense, to be honest. But I think Emerson needs some competition down his side, definitely. And sorry, Marcos Alonso, just wasn't impressed today. Now I'm going to continue on, you guys. Another player that disappointed me, I have to say, was Kovacic. Now, at times he was playing some lovely balls. At times he was using his great press resistance to good use, but, let's keep it real. Hull City just didn't press him at all. The second they started doing that in the second half, well, he started to get even sloppier. Now, it was quite disappointing because every now and then he was showing some glimpses of quality, some great backheel flicks, some great pieces of skill, dribbles, but the quality on the ball was not there. Now, I understand that it's quite hard for the midfielder playing as the deep line playmaker to really find options in front of him. And I think that comes down to how Lampard likes the midfielders to actually get inside the box. So when they do that, it means that there's no real passing connections between the lines and the wide players don't cut inside enough to make that happen. So, I can understand the struggle, but at the same time, and you're basically playing nearly, 75 minutes, not getting pressed, having all the time and space on the ball as you want, and your use of the ball was this poor, you're regularly hitting the ball out of play, making sloppy mistakes. It wasn't good enough, and it looks like he's rightfully out of the team for now. But anyway, you guys, I want to talk about two other players now. Now, they weren't necessarily negatives today, but I thought they had some equal parts positive and equal parts negative. Now, I'm going to start with Mason Mount. Mason Mount today showed a lot of promise. Now, today I saw a young 20-year-old that was really trying his hardest, maybe overplaying quite a lot at times to get a goal. Mason clearly feels that once he gets that goal, he's going to feel a lot more confident, a lot more comfortable, and he was really forcing the play a lot today. Now, at times it was used to great effect. He played a nice through pass into Barkley, who could have done better with his effort, his involvement as well, especially for the first goal, and that's really why he plays the role he does, because if Mason wasn't playing there, there's no one getting on the end of that poor Aspilicueta cross, and if that doesn't happen, then we don't force the lot for the first goal. And with us right now, you guys, we're so desperate to put the ball in the back of the net. All I'm saying is we can't get too bougie when it comes to the goals we score. Anyway, we move on though, and I'm going to have some more thoughts in tomorrow's video on Mason Mount. There have been a few things that I've been thinking of for a while now, and I think that I like to express them now in a video, so I think it'll be good for you guys for tomorrow. I think there's some misconceptions when it comes to the player's ability versus how the manager wants to play the players. So I feel like that distinction needs to be made. I feel like we need to understand the tactics and how we play, as that really explains a lot of why Mason doesn't have too much involvement in how we play. So I hope you guys have a clear perspective and look forward tomorrow to that video. So we do move on. And another kind of okay-ish player today was Michy Batshuayi. Now, he gets the first goal, which is great to see. And from then on, I really sympathise with him because he barely got any service. He barely got any quality. He fed off scraps the entire game. And I'll give him credit because Michy today seemed fired up, especially at the start. His link-up play was a lot better. He was starting to express himself a bit, some backheel flicks, a lot of nice switch balls to the opposite flank as well. But it was just a shame that he couldn't get any quality service inside the box. And I think sometimes that's always going to be a bottleneck when we don't have certain players in the team. Without Reece in the team, who's our best creative player by a billion miles, we really struggle to find that dimension to really unlock teams. But just so I can give my closing thoughts before I talk about the best player today, at this point in time, a lot of us feel like we don't have the creativity in the team to unlock teams, but I don't think that's so accurate. I feel like we just don't have the end products. I mean, today, you guys, how often do players get in the right area, but they constantly make the wrong pass, the wrong decision, poor shooting technique, poor everything. Now, of course, with the younger players, I'm naturally going to be more sympathetic to all of them because it's their first season at this level and you got to give these guys time. But time and time again, it's the old senior pros that's letting those guys down. It shouldn't be like that. I mean, come on, you guys. Without the goals from the academy grads, where are we this season? Absolutely nowhere. The experienced players haven't added anything really from an offensive point of view. And for me, this is why a lot of them need to be shipped on and we need to reinvest and replace them. But one player that doesn't need to be replaced for a very long time was the best player today, and that was Tomori. Now, this game would have been very special for the player because he was once on loan at Hull City. And now that he's come back and returned, well, the level and difference between Tomori back then and Tomori now is unbelievable, honestly. He played with so much confidence, so much class, so much sauce today. Some of his great reverse passes, first time layoffs, kicks over the top, all that type of stuff today. He looked very elegant. And that's what I love to see in the very best defenders. You know, how is your style of play? How is that excellence you display on the fields? And I think Tomori has that. Very classy, very elegant, very technical today. He showed just how far he's come as a player. He can only get better. It's going to be a very exciting journey to see, you guys. And he took his goal very well today. You know, we needed that goal from the set piece. He came through and it was great to see you guys. But now, just before I end the match review, I can't end this without speaking about one of the most comical things I've seen for a while. Now, the way in which we conceded that goal to Hull, oh, that was embarrassing, didn't you think? Like on the TV cameras, you could see Caballero was getting angry at Aspi and Cover saying, get tight to that wall, be physical, get in there, get in there. And Cover, I don't know what this guy was doing. I don't know what this guy was hearing. I know that Caballero must have been speaking to him in English, in Spanish, probably in Croatian as well. There was no excuse for him to not understand the message and come on, to be that weak in the war. And I'm sorry, that is not the mentality you display when you play for a big club. I remember seeing great teams, the teams under Lampard, Drogba, etc., etc. Things like that would never happen. Never, never, ever happen. Teams that would make mistakes like that used to be Arsenal. So I don't like seeing that type of stuff. And sometimes, you guys, you have to admit and look at the actual level of the player. But yeah, I'm going to wrap things up now, keep things moving. You know, at least we're through to the 5th round, but it wasn't too great to see you guys. Anyway, I'm a move. I'm in EFC. This is Reliance CV. See you guys in a bit.